All right. Hello, all.
Hello, friends.
We're back. We're back for the first time in ages. I just realized that my camera is pointed the wrong way. It's okay. But we are back. All of us. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Yay.
We did it.
We finally did it.
It only took a little while.
Yeah. You know what?
We're back.
Some things are worth waiting for, right?
True. Very true.
Excellent. So we are back on Great Ace Attorney Chronicles 2, Electric Boogaloo. I don't remember a single thing that happened in this game, in case anyone was wondering. So,
no idea.
It's been a hot minute.
It has been like 100 years now. Actually, I think it was back in October, but that feels like 10,000 years now. So,
real.
But we are back. We're gonna try our best. We're gonna see how this goes.
We do have a recap, right?
We do have a recap. I only vaguely remember most of the stuff in it is the problem.
No.
All right.
Yeah, did we intro?
We have not introed yet. Hi all, I'm Kels. Let's see. I voice Rinosuke Naruhodo, and occasionally the bailiff, who is played by Elmo.
I love Bailiff Elmo. That's my Oshi. Hello, everyone. I am Manabingu, your resident voice actor, and I voice the prosecution, also known as the prostitute. No, just kidding.
I mean, with him,
he's a hoe. He's a hoe. He goes on OnlyFans. He's a vampire. We're pretty sure he's a vampire. We don't know. We don't have conclusive evidence, but like, there's a lot pointing towards that direction.
We have a lot of circumstantial evidence.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, and then I play Iris. Yeah, Iris.
Sholmes. Yes.
Yes. Sherlock Sholmes. Yes. The man of the hour. Who is loud as fuck.
So loud. He makes me so tired.
I don't know how I play him, TBH, but it's fun. Anyway, that's me.
And my name is Lemur, and I know I play Susato and the judge, and that's about it. Yeah. I don't remember what case we're on. Normally I'm people in the case, like the defendant and shit, but I don't even remember what case we're doing.
It was so long ago.
So it'll be a surprise to me what else I do.
All right. Are we ready to recap?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so chat sent me a recap beforehand because they're not on today right now. But thank you so much if you do watch the recap of this.
An American hero.
Absolutely.
An American hero. You're not wrong.
So Gregson handed us the professor's autopsy, and Von Zieks showed the court a photo of the destroyed machine, because remember, we've got that time machine that we're trying to prove was actually fake.
Wasn't it a teleportation machine?
Yes, there we go. I don't know why I called it a time machine. I think I've been thinking of Professor Layton, which has a similar kind of thing in the third game, but let's see. Drebber testified that the experiment was legit and went wrong. He built the machine to specifications, and Von Zieks denied the existence of a twin sibling as the body double. We pointed out that the damage at the bottom of the cage contradicts how it was reported to dive head first, so there must be two cages that got swapped, and argued about the distance everything fell. The counter-argument Von Zieks made is that Drebber had no opportunity to switch the cages and has a monetary motive to keep Asman alive, according to the contract. We proposed that his accomplice was Courtney Scythe, and the body double was the waxwork Drebber stole from Tuspells. The jury called BS and took us to summation examination to juggle their opinions on Scythe, exposing that she did the professor's autopsy under her maiden name. We proved the glass from the tower was on the waxwork, got juror number 2 to fangirl over shipping, and connected Scythe to the Professor Waxwork enough to change minds. We have a racism count of 24, a hallowed chalice count of only 4 somehow.
Wow.
Hold on. So we have racism count
24
of what?
24.
24.
24. Okay.
We have hallowed chalice count is only 4. So apparently, Von Zieks
he didn't drink enough.
Yeah, he's cutting back on that alcoholism.
He's sobering up.
And then we have the Gina Menace count of 2.
Okay. That's more than I thought.
I mean, we've seen her quite a bit this case, so.
Yeah.
All right.
It's just, if I have it written down, I can work better to help chat keep it going.
Perfect. So. Excellent. Okay. Are we ready to do this? See, the problem is that the recap makes it sound like we're really close to the end of the case.
Or not, or there's no way.
I have no idea.
There's gonna be so much bullshit. We're never gonna be free.
There's always a lot of bullshit.
We'll find out. It's trial part 3, so, you know.
Ah.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, we think we know who the culprit is. So. Maybe? I don't know.
Always really good at taking a sip of my beverage right before I'm supposed to start talking.
What a great habit.
A waxwork of the despicable professor used as a body double for the victim in this quite extraordinary case. I must say, it's extremely hard to believe the assertion could possibly be true. However, it would appear that it does at least warrant further investigation.
It's the waxwork of the professor that links Mr. Drebber and Dr. Scythe. And I'm convinced that there's a special significance to that link.
Oh, no, that was me. I don't know what you're hoping to prove that. I really don't.
Okay, so then I'm odds.
Yes.
Okay. The truth, sir, by using evidence and testimony.
That man would not know what an evidence or a testimony was if it hit him in the face.
Mm-mm.
I forgot about him!
Your
Hot
husband.
assistant! I love you.
It's your husband.
Let's go make out on this desk over here.
Oh, damn.
Or on that desk. I'm okay with either.
Oh. If my opponent would stop simping over my assistant for 2 seconds. If the court is to delve deeper into the alleged involvement of the waxwork in this case, then the prosecution calls for the owner of the model to be summoned as a witness.
Oh no. Hot assistant. And my wife in the same courtroom at the same time?
Was I her? I think I was her. The owner?
Madame Tuspels.
I really thought that Lord Von Zeeks would object to this whole line of inquiry.
Very well, I concur. Make arrangements for Madame Tuspels to appear as a witness with immediate effect.
Listen carefully, my learned friend.
There's too many hot people that are going to be coming. I can't listen. Oh, yes?
Damn, you were distracted. You should know that you're on the brink of of opening a Pandora's box.
Do we count that as racism?
I think we count learned friend
We count
as
learned friend.
racism, yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we are starting our fun counts out with the least fun thing.
Yeah.
The court shall now adjourn for 45 minutes.
Woo!
That's such a specific time. During that time, the prosecution will summon the new witness and prepare her for taking the stand.
Madame Tuspels, yes. I shall see to it at once, my lord.
My liege.
My liege.
Fucking weirdo.
To
Oh,
be
well, to be continued.
God damn.
And that was
Well, goodbye,
stream.
everybody.
Yeah.
Well, that was a nice stream. Thanks. I'll see you guys next time.
See you in another couple of months.
Can you believe it?
Ah.
That would have been
Obviously,
so
we're kidding.
funny.
If you were sarcastically challenged, we are obviously kidding.
Yes. We will continue on. All right. 24th of October, 11:53 a.m. The Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. So I was right. We were near the end, just not of the trial.
Yeah.
Damn.
Oh boy.
This is a start.
I love the reaction. I didn't even say words yet, and it was just like, oh boy.
It's a start. Not a good start, but it's a start.
There he is.
The nights are in.
Oh, have you been watching from the gallery, Dr. Sholmes? Oh my god.
Don't tell them that.
Don't
say that to him.
Mr. Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes, I'm so sorry.
I love the ring of that.
Oh god, of course you do.
Yes, please call me Dr. Sholmes.
No, never.
I think I just earned my doctorate just by being here.
This is like when you call your teacher mom, and then you just want to die.
I've been at the edge of my seat the entire time. Courtroom trials are fascinating affairs, as a spectator at least.
I'm glad you've been enjoying yourself.
I do, now that I'm a doctor.
You didn't get your doctorate.
I got my doctorate in being amazing.
Oh my god. I have to ask.
Amazingly hot.
Oh, you wish.
Fucking Christ. What on earth is going on? It makes no sense. What's this professor business all about? He doesn't look like any professor I've ever met before. Who even is he?
Of course. You were in Germany already 10 years ago.
Yes, the professor.
Yes, please tell us all about this.
When I discovered he was the one who had been abducted, a sense of foreboding stirred within me. And who knew the monster would come knocking at my door? Oh, at your door. My heartfelt sympathies.
As it turns out, weirdo, Lord Von Zeeks is even more intimately tied to this case than any of us realized, isn't he?
Yes, how true. His great friend from university in the... Oh, I missed what that last word was.
In the dock, sorry.
It's okay, thank you.
And now a waxwork of the killer who took his esteemed brother's life makes an appearance too. I imagine even the shrewd Mr. Reaper failed to foresee that kick in the teeth. An extraordinary move on your part, my dear fellow, to throw that in front of the man.
How much of an asshole do you think I am? Hey, let me just dig up your family trauma, because I'm definitely losing this case right now.
I mean,
would do the
all's
same to
fair
us.
in love
Yeah.
and war.
Yeah, except for there's no love there.
Damn, not with that attitude.
You make it sound deliberate. I'm not that cold.
I can't help feeling that this professor case is really very puzzling.
Oh, yes. In what particular manner?
Well, there's Mr. Drebber, Dr. Scythe, and Lord Von Zeeks. It seems that everybody in the trial has a link to the case somehow. Yes, in fact, I alone am not a member of the set.
Okay, what about me? But okay.
Hello?
That's because you, sir, are what they call a patsy.
Oh, shit.
Though that leaves me as an empty set, all alone, with no intersection to any other.
Didn't you go to college with the prosecutor, my dude?
All alone.
Excuse me. I'm gonna guess that's not the bailiff, but... Oh, definitely not Elmo.
Shit.
Elmo's in the corner crying now. Dr. Scythe!
Dr. Courtney Scythe Stevens. Good day to you. I think that was me.
I think that was you.
Yeah.
Like,
Hello, Sholmes. That was very shrewd of you.
What in particular, pray?
You requested that 10-year-old autopsy report from Gregson, didn't you?
Why would you assume such a thing?
Because Gregson told me.
So it's not an assumption, I take it.
That son of a bitch.
To think, it's been 10 years. 10 years in the laboratory, wielding my scalpel. A smell of nothing but corpses and disinfectant.
Yes, but you're gorgeous, so does that have anything?
Wait, do you want to be cut up? Is that what we're
I mean, look, could it get kinky? Yes. Would I be super opposed to that?
Wow, you're thinking about it.
I could probably at least try.
Wow.
A policeman on the jury had a lot to say about you as it happens, Dr. Scythe. And I've accused you of being complicit in what happened. I'm hoping that you'll take the stand and tell the truth about what really happened.
Huh. That certainly won't be possible. Lord Von Zeeks won't be summoning me as a witness. Lord Strongheart has forbidden it.
Lord Strongheart?
The Pandora's box you were warned about is the Professor case. But please, don't make the mistake of thinking you'll get any information about it out of me.
But attempting to hide from the truth, that's cowardice.
Susato, I love you, but I don't know that you want to cross her. She looks like she will stab you with her little hair spike.
She just looks like she do taxidermy and not just on animals.
Yeah, I can see it.
I've always fought crime in the way that I see fit. I have no regrets, none at all. And that's all I came here to say. So, good day to you.
Bye.
Well, we got rejected.
She mentioned it too. This Pandora's box.
Whatever does it all mean?
There's really no cause for concern, I assure you, when the trial resumes. The meaning will become all too apparent, whether you like it or not.
Well, I don't like that.
Bad vibes. Bad vibes.
Huh?
I've said too much. Anyway, now then, I believe it's almost time. I must make my way back to the public gallery. The edge of my seat awaits.
I think maybe you're enjoying yourself a little too much.
Oh yes, one word of warning before I go. If in the course of the trial this afternoon you perceive even a shadow of a doubt about the truth, don't let it out of your sight. Pursue it like a dog with a bone.
I'm quite good at that. But thank you.
To the bitter end, you understand? Do not falter, whatever may come to pass.
All right, I understand.
That's a good boy!
Not a dog!
Good, I shall make myself scarce then.
Finally.
Whoa, what was that last one? Anyway, I purchased a bar of caramel earlier, so I shall be gnawing on that as you gnaw away at the truth.
Is it going to be loud in the courtroom? That's all I need to know. Am I
Very
going to hear
loud.
like the sound of rustling behind my head in the gallery?
And just like a crunch, like...
Yeah, you know. Little caramel shards going everywhere.
Yes. Also, did you notice that it said Sholmes caramel?
Yeah. Truly
Wow,
is
okay. So literally, he's sponsored.
his. Yeah. Or there's something he's not telling us about his family.
He's Willy Wonka.
There we go. What did that warning from Mr. Sholmes really mean, I wonder? Especially the bit about whatever may come to pass.
Sus.
It's time for the final chapter then. Oh, fuck me. This was not a good place to stop for 2 months. But that's okay. We'll make it through. I'm determined to find the truth. No matter what.
All right, gamers, here we go.
So, Von Zeeks, just in case I've hit my head sometime during the recess, would you like to recap the entire trial for us? Please, and thank you. 24th of October, 12:40 p.m., the Old Bailey courtroom.
This is a great time for Skype to have stalled.
Oh no!
No.
If I'm supposed to talk, which I assume I am because it was the judge.
Yep.
I've got a nice view of his gavel. I can just switch over to stream. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby reconvene the proceedings of this court. Counsels for the defense and prosecution, are you ready and able to continue?
I think we're okay. Are you okay, Mr. Judge?
Oh, there we go. Now it's caught up.
The prosecution is ready, my lord, and I'm going to win.
Yes, my lord. The defense is also ready.
As the court is aware, the case under our scrutiny began with a damaging incident at the Great Exhibition. Yet we now find ourselves embroiled in the details of a convicted felon who was sent to the gallows a decade ago. This trial has certainly defied all expectation.
All of the trials I'm in usually do.
As it seems to be the fate of all the trials in which this Nipponism is involved, my lord.
Okay, but I said it nicely, so fuck you.
You get extra point.
Right?
Yes.
So then, let us begin our exploration of the defense's assertion that the waxwork was cardinally involved in this matter. Lord Von Zeeks?
My lord?
Are we still awaiting the arrival of Madame Tuspels?
Not at all. She is in the antechamber as we speak, and ready to be summoned.
The hotness level of this courtroom is about to go up like 3 more bars.
Very well, bring in the witness.
At once, my lord. Bailiff, show Madame Tuspels to the stand.
Things are about to become a lot more intense. If Drebber is responsible, as I'm sure he is, it means he must have had an accomplice in Dr. Scythe.
And what connects the pair of them is the waxwork.
Yes, the model of the professor. That's the key to the link between these otherwise unrelated individuals. It's a tenuous link, admittedly, but at present, it's all we have to go on. Do you really have to be doing him? Like, come on. I can't escape this man.
Oh, I really love the view from up here. I need more caramels, please. It's great. State your name and occupation for the court, please.
I believe I'm her.
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah, you're Tuspel.
My name is Madame Esmeralda Tuspels. I am a waxwork artisan and the proprietress of the Madame Tuspels Museum of Waxwork. You will have to pardon me for working as I testify. My new exhibit must open very soon.
So when I eventually break her testimony, is she just going to break off his nose?
Yes. I hope so.
Oh, so he finally gets a statue, does he?
Finally.
Now there are 2 of them in the world.
I love it here.
Oh my, what expression is she carving into that face? Paint.
Thank you, Heart Assistant. A number of days ago, a particular waxwork model was stolen from your museum. Can you confirm this?
Oui, that is true. Oh, that's right. 'Cause I don't remember why. I was like, oh, I don't know. I can bet. Okay. At first, we believed it had been kidnapped. A waxwork model? Kidnapped? Yes, my lord. There was a demand for ransom money left behind by the culprit. However, according to what I have just been told outside the courtroom, that was not the true reason. Are we leading the witness?
Possibly.
I understand that it was utilized as a substitute for the body of a murder victim? Yeah, guys.
Yup. At present, there is no more than conjecture proposed by the defense.
I'd like to point out we did not prepare the witness, so
Yeah.
we're not leading it. Her.
This is the victim of the case in question, Mr. Odie Osman.
Was he an assman? The world will never know.
We need to know.
But of course, I know him well. He is part of my odious personages exhibit. I detest to say that what is evident, but Mr. Aspen does not resemble the professor at all. Yeah,
Yes.
his head's not made of a helmet.
Yeah. Yes, but perhaps their faces are very similar.
Are you suggesting that we should see now the demasked visage of the professor?
Oh, ma'am.
I have here the key,
Hot.
but is strictly forbidden to open the lock. Why would they let her see his face to sculpt it underneath a helmet?
This is absurd.
Pardon?
I'm more curious about why it needs a key and a lock.
Right. I don't know what face you've carved into your fancy figure beneath that mask. But clearly, it won't be that of the actual killer.
Indeed. The man's identity was never made public, after all. That's why I was...
The trial took place in a closed court. The proceedings were strictly confidential. The condemned man was summarily executed. His identity remains a close-guarded national secret. There is no possible way that a repository of tawdry exhibits could get its hands on that information.
Why am I not surprised that he's not a supporter of the arts?
Real. It's called fanfic. No.
Mm-mm.
Quel dommage.
Great.
You tried.
It would seem you were unaware of the Tispel's principles.
What principles?
The family Tispels has always prided itself on sculpting its models a la perfection. Every detail, including the visage, is fashioned with complete fidelity. Voila, our principles. There's a well-known legend about the Tispel's waxwork from the time of the French Revolution. A member of the Tispel's family is said to have made a waxwork of the queen who was executed. Oui, that is true. It was a century ago now. I believe the Queen's face was carved in the minutes following her death, actually at the guillotine site. You are correct. The model is on display still today in the House of Horrors. We Spells will stop at nothing to obtain a faithful replica of our subjects.
Damn.
So what I'm hearing is you have connections inside the government.
Great.
Dear me, somewhat disturbing tendency of purpose. Tenacity of purpose. It is the only way to obtain a truly lifelike representation of the subject. And it has been my family's secret for generations.
Damn.
Do you mean to say that beneath that mask?
The true visage of the killer is there.
This is ludicrous. It is out of the question.
The professor spread terror throughout Great Britain. As a result, the Madame Tuspel's special exhibit remains extremely popular even today. The killer, emerging from his own grave, is a sight to behold. You should come.
Damn, not the free advertisement.
Hey, that dude that killed your brother, you should come.
Nice.
I think, Madame, it would be beneficial to hear your formal testimony on this matter. You will explain it every detail of this macabre model and your personal involvement in its creation. With pleasure.
She's perfect.
I love her.
She's hot and creepy. All right, the Professor Waxwork.
Oh, so that's your type. Hot
Yeah.
and creepy.
Probably checks out.
We knew this. The special exhibit in the House of Horrors is based on a rumor that shocked society in London. An impression of the visage was taken directly from the corpse, in accordance with Tuspel's family principles. I enlisted the aid of the gravedigger and created a mold for the head in the cemetery just before the interment. I hid myself until he gave me a signal. I was there for a very long time that night. Are you just admitting to other crimes?
Yeah.
In court?
Yeah.
Hooray for the grave digging or
I mean,
something.
technically, I don't know that this is against the law. Mostly because I don't think there's a law against it.
I still feel like... I don't know.
It's not trespassing, so, you know.
That's true
If the gravedigger condoned it and let her in.
Yeah.
True.
As dawn approached, I was very worried that I could be discovered. The gravedigger. The man sanctioned this? I will do all that is necessary to achieve the true resemblance my family is celebrated for. Nobody else knew, only the gravedigger. What harm did it do, huh?
Sorry, I was drinking water. So, you truly saw it. The face of that monster.
Von Zieks is about to rip that little cage off that waxwork head.
Mm-hmm. Naturally, I was aware at the time his identity was a secret. But Tuspels would not be Tuspels if we did not insist on absolute fidelity of our sculptures.
I don't believe this.
I myself have seen the special exhibit at your museum, Madame. truly blood-curdling scene in which the murderer is emerging from his own grave. The scene it depicts was the subject of many rumors in London 10 years ago. I have here a newspaper from the time. The special exhibit was based on the picture in this article. It was the most detailed account of what happened, as reported by the eyewitness who saw it.
Signed Assman? Down in the bottom corner.
Assman.
All right, we have the article.
Man rises from the grave. It's too absurd for words.
The public enjoy absurdity, monsieur. That's why I have reproduced the scene as carefully as possible in my museum.
And it's a waxwork from that exhibit that was stolen some days before the incident at the Great Exhibition, wasn't it?
That is correct. The professor you see before you hear. Leia, are you good? Yeah, she's good. Most puzzling. Counsel for the defense, proceed with the cross-examination.
This waxwork links Drebber to Dr. Scythe. And there has to be some reason for that, which hasn't yet come to light. But I'll find it. I'll get to the bottom of what really happened. I'll prove that Dr. Scythe and Drebber were in on this crime together. Okay, I do have a question. So if we're going for 100% accuracy on this model, does that mean 100% accuracy everywhere? Because I want to know how long was his dick. Like, I feel like that's an important question.
Yes.
All right, we're going to look.
There's always yes.
The second you were like, like, I know where this is going. I know exactly where this is going. You don't even need to finish your sentence. I know where you're going with this, man.
Okay, well,
and maybe
I'm predictable.
If she still likes us at the end of us cross-examining her, she'll let us look.
That's true, yeah. Please still like me.
Like, so you're into looking at dead man dick. No.
I mean, technically, it's just wax dick. It's not
Yeah.
a dead man's dick.
And technically,
it's the visage of a dead man's dick.
Well, that and like, so dicks grow, right? You know, but when you're dead, what happens?
What?
Like,
Damn.
the blood's not moving anymore.
True.
So does it like shrink back to like minimum size? Like when you're cold?
I'm sure.
Okay, well, I'm not going to Google it because I really don't want to upset my FBI agent. But, so when you die, there's like the thing about how people will talk about like your nails and your hair grow, and really it's just your skin retracting because you're dehydrated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would assume that would apply to other fleshy bits as well, so I would go with smaller.
Well, because, like, there's two things here. So you have that, but then you also have rigor mortis that starts to set in on the muscles. And I'll admit, I don't know my anatomy that well. But if the muscles are then hardening, then you would think it would expand.
Right.
We did not cover this in my forensic anthropology class.
Mm-mm.
I should write
all
in
my
my
years
college.
of true crime and crime scene investigation obsession. Yeah, I've never. Has not prepared me for this question.
Damn, I guess we can't win Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
So, if you're dead, let us know what happened to your dick.
Thank you.
We hit 1 million.
One of these days
subscribers,
you're gonna
we'll
get
go, like,
haunted.
ghost hunting and- yeah.
No, one day you're just gonna get haunted and then someone's gonna whisper in your sleep, yes or no.
Yeah.
And then you'll be like, thank you.
Thank you. You
Kind
know?
citizen.
Look, as long as you answer the question, you can haunt me for a little bit. I don't really have anything interesting, but, you know. I mean, if you give me the answer.
Chat's
Then
gonna be
you'll
so
feel
mad that they
satisfied.
missed this conversation.
I know, like, damn.
Jesus,
They're like,
I'm so sorry.
wasn't here for the dead dick conversation. That's why. Maybe we should have waited for it.
Well, I didn't have the question later. I had it now.
True. We could always bring it back if he comes back on time.
So,
the recap.
There we go, yeah.
It's like, what did I miss? Oh, buddy.
We'll bring up the dead subject like it's a dead dick.
Yes.
Are we good?
We're good.
Do we need to discuss further, or can I read now?
You can keep going.
The special exhibit in the House of Horrors is based on a rumor that shocked society in London.
And that rumor would be
a 10-year-old tale now, but one that no Londoner would ever forget. Ah, right. I know just what you're talking about, I think.
Of course. It couldn't be anything else.
Yes, that story would never disappear. The tale of the condemned killer rising from the dead. That is the central attraction of my House of Horrors. Dun, dun, dun. The rumor was whispered all over the city, and it was like this. Psst, psst, psst.
Nice. It sounded like a cat.
Sorry. It was in Lowgate Cemetery behind the prison in the dead of night after the execution of the killer. The interred professor slid back the stone slab covering his tomb and emerged from his grave. A young man who witnessed this felt a scream welling up inside him. But an instant later, he heard an ear-splitting gunshot from over his shoulder. The bullet struck the emerging corpse, and he fell motionless once more. The scream finally found its way from the mouth of the young witness, who turned and ran for his life. He ran for his life.
The corpse climbed out of his own grave?
Yeah, bitch, what do you think we've been talking about this whole time? And then somebody shot him. Who was it? Nobody knows, even today. We might know if that bitch didn't scream and run away.
Yeah.
But remember, it was just a rumor. Perhaps nothing more than a ghost story. The good people of London, they love stories like this. That is why it was in every newspaper across the capital.
But was it just a story?
Is necromancy real?
I mean, this is exactly the scene that can be seen today at your museum, right?
The special exhibit was modeled on that very illustration. For a while afterwards, the contents of that article were reproduced in every newspaper imaginable. Sorry, I'm scratching my eyeball. Madam, might I say something? Please, go ahead, mademoiselle. When something is described as a rumor, it doesn't necessarily mean that it is entirely made up. I believe that often rumors contain elements of the truth. I see that people from the East can be just as astute as people of Europe. Oh my god.
Kind of feels like a racism count.
Yeah, that's us. Hold on.
If not a very stiff microaggression. Come on, you're hotter than that.
Yeah, we all trusted you. We all were rooting for you.
We're all rooting for you. God, quick tangent. My friends and I just watched that season of America's Next Top Model, and because we purposely only turned it on to watch that girl get yelled at, and then we got sucked into the rest of that season. Anyway,
Okay, but was it good?
No. It does not age well, if that's what you mean by good.
Oh no. It did not age
It's
well.
a reality TV show from the early 2000s that did not age well.
Yeah.
True.
We noticed that Hulu took down the there's like 2 episodes of America's Next Top Model where they purposely have the models do like blackface, and they do not exist on Hulu anymore.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, there's one episode where they do race swapping.
Oh my god.
And then there's another one
with that idea.
Early 2000s reality TV man. Tyra Banks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they did that. It was like a Got Milk ad, and they were like all holding babies of the actual races that they were cosplaying as.
Oh my god.
Hell no. Oh hell no.
So that's not on Hulu anymore. But if you watch that season, they do a recap of like all of the girls' photos when they get eliminated, so you can still see the photos.
Oh my god.
Completely take it
That
out.
is fucked up.
And then the other one is, I believe it was a Michael Jackson photo shoot. Themed photo shoot that they had some of their models do blackface for.
Oh my god.
Let's not do that, you
Yeah,
guys.
so America's Next Top Model does not age well.
No. I kind of figured it wasn't going to anyways, with, just remembering how stick thin everyone had to be in the early 2000s. But
no, it's worse.
Yeah.
It's worse than you think.
It continues to be bad. Anyway, sorry for the just random info dump on America's Next Top Model.
No, I mean, holy fuck.
we literally just had a conversation about what happens to a dick when it dies, so.
Yeah.
True.
So yeah, but I could answer questions on this one, so I haven't. Anyway, I'm now tempted to Google, and I really didn't want to give my FBI agent anything new today. Can we be sure, for instance, that the professor's execution was successful? Why would she know that?
I mean, she spent time around the body, didn't she?
That's true. Okay, I was like, yes, you're right. I got too distracted by America's Next Top Model. It is not possible for the dead to come back to life.
Okay, but what if he wasn't dead?
Yeah, he just wasn't dead.
Sorry?
I think I know what Shom's story this is, or Holmes' story this is. 10 years ago, I was there in the Lower Gate Cemetery. After the criminal known as the Professor was killed by hanging. I took a wax impression of his visage from the corpse just before it was interred. Oh, that's a pillow. I was trying to figure out what you had.
Oh yeah, I've got a little pillow.
Okay, I was just like,
he has a face.
Oh, he's so cute.
Is that your sword, boy?
Yes, that's my mama.
It's Token Rambu.
It is.
I'm so sorry. I was like, what the hell is that? Anyway.
No, it's Token Rambu.
So I can assure you, the man was dead. He ran into my knife 10
times. I see.
It would certainly appear that the condemned man suffered the intended fate.
So are you telling me he had it coming?
He had it coming all along. I mean, not singing. Not singing. But I totally am.
You would have done the
same. I would have done the same too.
An impression of the visage was taken directly from the corpse in accordance with Tusbel's family principles.
Is that true of every waxwork in your museum then?
It is. Assuming the subject is dead, of course. Live subjects have to cooperate in a similar way, which is probably why Sholmes had to stand there without moving for so long.
Real.
I have letters from imprisoned criminals, I have letters from imprisoned criminals all the time, you know.
What sort of letters?
When my time comes, please make a waxwork of me.
Comme ça.
Comme ça?
No.
My museum is famous, monsieur. To be made into a waxwork is an honor, and for some criminals, a symbol of status, even.
Because nothing says hardened criminal better than wax.
I mean, you're gonna last a lot, or be remembered for much longer.
Every kiss begins with wax.
Jesus.
God.
And it is thanks to one killer in particular that my museum has gained such popularity in London. I refer to the star of the special exhibit, of course, the professor.
Whose form you claim to have captured by taking an impression from the actual corpse.
There are no exceptions to the principles of the Tuspels. I enlisted the aid of the grave digger and created a mold from the head in the cemetery just before internment.
Surely that's illegal. Isn't it?
That's what I said.
It would seem the proprietress of this repository of novelties was blinded by monetary greed.
It had nothing to do with money.
Oh, sure, you showed your ankles, is that it?
The man is part of London's criminal history.
Oh.
That is why I had to sculpt him, to record his history.
Raison d'être.
Okay.
The reason of being.
Raison, and then it's the second word that I was like, I don't know if I could even try to say that back to you. The Tuspels Museum.
But if the man was convicted in a closed court and sent for immediate execution, then surely nobody but the members of the judiciary present know the killer's true identity.
I assure you, behind that mask is hidden the true face of the professor.
Do you realize what you're saying? The professor's identity is a national secret.
And she's over here like, what, you mean it's hard?
I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean she knows what his name is. She just knows what he looks like, right?
Yeah.
True.
I understand. And now the truth about the special exhibit has been revealed. It must perhaps close.
Of course it will. As will your entire museum if you don't tread very carefully, madame.
Bitch, do you think she's afraid of you? I don't think she's afraid of you.
She is not afraid of him.
Again, she could taxidermy you.
Yeah, watch out.
Mm-hmm.
That could be another interesting chapter in the history of my family, I think, don't you?
So, 10 years ago, on the night of the professor's execution, you took a wax impression of his face from the corpse?
What do you think I've been saying this whole time? Oui, exactement. I hid myself until he gave me a signal. I was there for a very long time that night.
You were there longer than you expected to be.
I had some difficulties in capturing the subject's form correctly. As I removed the mask, the mouth of the cadaver fell open and I had some problems with the chin.
Dare I ask?
The man had been dead for a short while already, you see. His muscles were relaxing and consequently his chin would not align itself correctly. Oh dear, what a horrible thought. Under normal circumstances, I would have an assistant with me. However, that night I was alone, and as a consequence, I missed my preferred window of time.
What do you mean?
Yeah, it's like Homegirl has not actually been working on this for a while now. When I take the impression of the visage of a cadaver...
Are you imagining him as a cadaver? I just need to know.
Oh god, I certainly feel ill.
I always wait until 3 hours after death.
I will hopefully be here after 3 hours.
Why 3 hours? Is that amount of time significant?
It's because of rigor mortis.
Wriggly Mortis?
Damn.
It's the name given to the phenomenon that occurs in recently deceased bodies. As a rule, 3 hours post-death, the muscles in the body begin to stiffen. By approximately 10 hours post-death, the entire body is completely rigid and inflexible. And then, from that point on, the muscles slowly start to revert to their relaxed state. The effect is often used to estimate the time of death when a body is discovered.
Well, that was an education, if a slightly scary one.
As the Mademoiselle says, rigor mortis commences 3 hours after death, and it starts in the jaw.
I don't know if that's true or not, if I'm being completely honest.
I see. So that's why you wait.
For that time, the mouth falls open, and it is very difficult to do my work.
Ugh. It's getting hard for me to do my work with all this talk of corpses. I wonder about that information the courts just heard from Madame Testbells. So, I mean, it feels like it should be significant, but I don't know why. Should we wait and see?
I
don't think I have anything else from that night.
Yeah, I think wait and see.
Yeah.
Let's see. Drebber, birdcage, camera. I think I'd rather pretend I didn't hear any of those grim details and try to forget all about it. Thank you, madame. Please continue.
Certainly. So, you comprehend a little of the process now, and why it took me so long that night. As dawn approached, I was very worried that I could be discovered.
Hold it!
You say that dawn was approaching? What was the time of day then? Approximately.
Well, I could not say. But when I left the cemetery with my utensils and wax, the morning light was becoming visible.
The execution took place on the 17th June, which had the earliest sunrise of that year.
How do you know that?
What a wild
I
thing.
was away.
Indeed it did. First light would have been around 4:40 in the morning. Why would any of you know this?
That really
That is so
early.
hyper-specific.
I know.
The fact is, I had very little time, so I finished my work in half an hour. It was necessary to complete the impression and bury the body before daybreak, of course. If somebody had discovered me there, it would have been a catastrophe, so I had to hurry.
Is it me, or does Mr. Sholm seem to be taking shape more quickly now, too?
You certainly appear to go to extraordinary lengths for your work, madame.
I wonder, is what she just said particularly significant? That one seems significant.
Yeah.
Madame, those details about how long it took you to complete the sculpture and the early sunrise, could you include them in your testimony? I believe they may be significant.
Of course, if you'd like me to. You're quite right, Mr. Naruhodo. It is intriguing. A sunrise at 4 in the morning would be absolutely unimaginable at home, wouldn't it?
That's not quite what I meant by significant.
Kindly amend your formal testimony then, madame. With pleasure, my lord. I hurried to finish my work in the half an hour before sunrise, and then I left as soon as the corpse was interred.
Did you have reason to believe you might be discovered once the sun came up or something?
I had paid the gravedigger money to keep my little secret, of course. But with the morning light, I knew that the warden from the prison would commence his patrol of the area.
Couldn't you just have paid off the warden too, then?
I had already paid the gravedigger, as I said. You cannot buy the silence of everyone, or the secret is no longer a secret, huh?
The sunrise was at 4:40 a.m. that day, which means that it would have been around 4 when you began your sculpting work.
Oui, that must be correct. That would be when the gravedigger gave me the signal to come out of hiding.
So that's all I have to go on.
What's your feeling, Mr. Naruhodo?
For some reason, Dr. Scythe went along with Drubber's plan. Now, if that's really true, then the professor is the only other thing we know of that links the pair of them. So I feel sure that that waxwork must be a clue to this mystery somehow.
In that case, we must use this cross-examination to uncover exactly what it means. Otherwise, the jurors are sure to revert their leanings and the trial will be over.
I agree. But interestingly, uncovering what the professor has to do with all of this means more to Lord Von Zieks than anyone. That's the impression I'm getting anyway.
Yes, as do I.
After all, he has a profound connection to the professor as well. Alright, let's ask about the rigor mortis now. I don't remember which one it was. I think it was... Oops, not that. Go back.
Hold it!
Alright, yeah. Longer. Mouth of the cadaver. Chin kept falling open.
That's a creepy thing to think about.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's even worse to think about is in my forensic anthropology class, you learn what the insect cycle is that starts in your body. You know, because corpses are fantastic places for insects to lay their eggs. So it's another way to date how old corpses are.
I think there's a university in Tennessee that has a body farm.
Mm-hmm.
You can donate your body to science, and they basically just put you out in their field and plant some bugs on you and see how they help you decompose.
Yep. The information about rigor mortis that you just shared with us, would you mind including it in your formal testimony? I believe it could be significant, you see.
Of course, I do not mind at all.
She loves me.
She does.
I can't help feeling after this latest topic. The atmosphere in the courtroom has become extremely grave.
Oh my god, Susato. And that's stream.
Not from you, sweetie.
This
Not
is
from
no
you.
time for jokes, Miss Susato.
She tried.
Madame, quite kindly amend your testimony as discussed.
Bien sûr.
Sure thing, bud. It took me a very long time because it was before the onset of rigor mortis.
Okie dokie artichoke.
Rigor mortis being the phenomenon you described, whereby the corpse becomes stiff after death. I think you said it starts at the jaw about 3 hours post-death. Is that right?
Oui,
C'est ça.
c'est ça. Of course, the exact duration depends a little on the season.
I didn't realize a waxwork artisan would be so well versed in the subject.
None. That is only elementary knowledge of the field of legal medicine.
Well, I had no idea about it, but maybe I won't admit to my ignorance about forensic science.
I could ask my father to give you a very simple primer if you'd like.
It doesn't seem like your father likes me anymore, Susato, so...
Yeah.
Or any less.
Yeah. I think corpses should be your domain. I'm not good with them.
Oh dear. I'll do my very best.
Giving her all the dirty work?
Okay,
Yeah.
so... That's not gonna help us here. Oh! Oh, we have a problem!
Eh?
Okay, so... According... Oop, that's not what I meant to do. So, according to her testimony, she did her work at... She was done by 4:40, right?
Yes.
Right.
The corpse wasn't completely stiff
Mm-hmm.
by the time that she started doing her work. But she did her work in a half an hour.
Mm-hmm.
He was hanged at midnight. Which would have been... So, when she started working on him at 4 o'clock in the morning, that was more than 3 hours, which means rigor mortis would have set in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that couldn't have been the professor.
Oh shit. Shit just got real. Oh, she's gonna hate this then. Because her perfect statue is not perfect.
Madame Tuspels, I have here an autopsy report that was filed 10 years ago now. It confirms the death of the professor following his execution at the gallows.
And is that a problem?
I believe it is, because your testimony and a particular detail in the report completely contradict one another.
Oui?
Are you going to explain yourself, my Nipponese friend?
According to her testimony, Madame Tuspels was creating her wax impression just before dawn. And at that time, rigor mortis had not yet set in. Am I correct so far, Madame?
You are. Yes. As I said, the stiffening of the jaw is the first sign of rigor mortis, 2 or 3 hours after death. But the man's chin was limp, so he could not have been dead for a long time.
But on the other hand, if you looked at Dr. Scythe's report, it quite clearly states the following. Death by hanging confirmed at midnight, 17th June.
No.
If the professor indeed died at midnight that day, then by the time you were sculpting his face, rigor mortis would have already set in.
Wait, yes, you're right. The chin, it would have been completely stiff.
In other words, this report is wrong.
Objection!
No coroner makes mistakes when recording the time of death. The very idea is absurd.
In that case, there's only one possible conclusion. The execution didn't actually take place at the stated time.
Impossible!
Skype, please. Okay. Back to watching through stream. Order! Council, this is beyond folly.
Don't die, Lemur.
Not only do you indict the author of the report, Dr. Scythe, but you also implicate the members of the Barclay prison where the execution took place.
Objection!
Not in my day.
Of course not in your day.
My learned friend appears to have overlooked one very crucial fact.
What fact?
The professor died that night without question.
He did, of course he did. I moved the man's limp jaw with my own hands. There was...
Yes, the professor died that night. But what if he didn't die at the gallows?
Didn't die. Are you insane? What exactly are you suggesting that happened in the case?
It's almost impossible to believe, but it would explain the link between Dr. Scythe, the professor, and that one other person of interest. I have evidence that will explain exactly what I'm suggesting happened that night. Oh no.
Council, present the evidence at once. The evidence that allegedly explains what really happened on the night of the professor's execution.
Hey, have you seen my armband?
So much evidence.
The camera? I don't have any information about the camera yet. Okay, someone want to cheat? It has been too long for me to remember. I'm sure we figured it out back then. If there's one piece of evidence that very clearly says it. Unfortunately, it's been months.
You're so right. My instinct was the newspaper with the word Ode Yasmin in it, but I don't think that's it.
I don't understand how Dr. Scythe is implicated, because that was my first thought for it as well, but...
Yeah. The killer report?
The autopsy?
What really happened that night?
Can we ever actually look at this? I don't really understand why I've got it in my inventory.
What does it say? Oh, do you think there's something inside?
I don't know. Let's see. Royal Society Award. There's a little metal plaque here. Look. Fostering burgeoning talent for the future of scientific discovery. Do you want me to take over your Susato really quick, Lemur, while you're looking that up?
Yep.
Or, Mana, you can do it.
It seems rather ironic, doesn't it?
But clearly, Mr. Drebber really was a talented scientist.
We're in trial part 3?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Can you look at the camera or no?
I mean, I look
And
at
you could. And you couldn't open the trophy, like, to see if anything was in there, right? Oh.
What a wonderful machine.
You really love contraptions like this, don't you?
Oh yes, anything mechanical I find absolutely irresistible.
Almost irresistible, surely.
Well, whenever I see a pocket watch, for example, I can't help myself. I simply have to take it apart.
That's worrying.
Yes, Father tells me by the rumblings of his stomach now, he's given up having a watch.
Poor Professor Mikotoba.
Oh, I skipped ahead.
Look, Mr. Naruhodo.
What is that blood?
Oh.
On the bellows just here, there seems to be some very dark stains.
Yeah, you're right. It looks like blood, actually.
Oh,
there we go.
oh my.
I'm sure it's not what you're thinking. Did you find it?
Anything else?
Yeah, I think so.
Anything else that would incriminate this?
Doesn't look like it. I've already went through that one.
Okay, so we pressed statement 4, which was I hid myself until he gave me the signal. I was there for a very long time that night. The 10-year-old article. Oh wait, I backed up. It's significant. On the new statement 4% killer's autopsy report, which we did.
We did.
Something's off about the timeline. Presser did indeed die that night, but not the time stated in the autopsy report. When asked for proof of this, present the 10-year-old article. Yeah. And then we're going to be asked to name a witness.
So we must be needing to put out Asmund, but I don't understand what Dr. Scythe has to do with this. What happened that night is written very plainly in this newspaper article. Executed criminal returns in the dead of night at local cemetery.
You're suggesting it was a corpse coming back from the dead now?
Well, if this article is to be believed, yes. The professor, assumed dead following his execution, emerged from his grave and was killed again.
Objection!
Don't be a fool. That's simply a rumor published by the gutter press.
Can you be certain of that?
Are you serious?
The point is, as the article states, there was a witness to what happened.
My word, yes indeed.
May we?
The young man who stole into the cemetery by chance that
Objection!
night.
Of course there was a witness. The story didn't write itself. But obviously the man made it all up.
And in any case, it was 10 years ago now. There would surely be no hope of finding him.
On the contrary, my lord, we all know this witness well.
What?
Are you suggesting, counsel, that you have identified the person in question? That you know who claims to have seen this utterly incredible event take place?
Yes, my lord. In fact, you could say that he's right here before my very eyes.
You will substantiate your latest claim now then, counsel. Who is the alleged witness of the staggering scene from the cemetery 10 years ago?
So it must be Odie Asman, right?
No.
No.
No, it has to be the Drebber guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's Drebber. He was literally there.
Well, yeah. I thought that was too obvious. We knew he was there. Have we not made the connection in the courtroom yet?
I guess not.
The man in question is Mr. Enoch Drebber.
Drebber?
The previous witness.
Okay, so I was just ahead of us, which is incredible considering the fact I don't remember what we've done, but apparently I thought we've done everything. The
Right.
special exhibit in the House of Horrors at Madame Tussauds Museum of Waxwork recreates that decade-old scene in great detail. The condemned criminal emerging from the grave, and beside the tomb, a young man with a lantern stumbling upon the terrifying sight. And that young man is a 10-year younger Mr. Enoch Drebber.
Ooh.
Oh, come on. Order, order, order. Please, Skype. No, okay. Surely not, Council.
Drebber was there, in the Lowgate Cemetery.
What's all this talk about Mr. Drebber? Is the name significant?
Of course. Madame Tussauds doesn't know, does she? Yes, it's extremely significant, Madame. To your situation as well, in fact.
What situation?
The theft of the Professor Waxwork from your museum some days ago was perpetrated by the very same man.
Huh? But that would mean...
Madame Tussauds. It would appear you know the name Enoch Drebber.
Yes, I know it. But from a long time ago in the past.
What?
Oh my.
Not the
Good
X.
gracious.
No.
I know, I was going to say, do I have competition?
Right. Explain yourself. Tell us everything you know.
Yes, of course. The story of the young man and the terrible sight he witnessed in the cemetery 10 years ago was published in every single newspaper in London and throughout Great Britain. However, in all of the articles, the witness was simply described as a certain young man. No details were published about his identity. His name was never revealed. That is, apart from in one newspaper. The Daily Circus is the paper from which comes the article I have already shown in court.
You're saying that his full name was only publicized in that article?
Goodness me. Yes, here it is. The university student who experienced this shocking event is Mr. Enoch Drebber, a disciple of science at the University of London and a resident of its student dorms.
How irresponsible do you have to be to publish in a newspaper? Like, yeah, this is where you can find him. Unbelievable.
Not the doxing.
Yeah.
When I read the article, I went to meet with the man. His discovery of the condemned criminal coming back to life in the cemetery in the dead of night would make a perfect exhibit for my House of Horrors, whether it was the truth or not. I see. So you went to meet Mr. Drebber in order to sculpt a waxwork of the man, did you? Exactly. He was studying science at the University of London in those days. He was just a poor student. I paid him £5 to model for the waxwork. And since that time, it has been in my museum to recreate the scene of terror from the cemetery.
Well, You can meet him again. You can tell us if he was creepy back then, too.
True.
So, 10 years ago, a young man appealed to the public about an extraordinary event he'd witnessed. A criminal who had been put to death re-emerging from his grave in the middle of the night. But the public treated his claim as nothing more than an amusing anecdote that was soon forgotten. 10 years later, the same man steals a waxwork of the model of the executed criminal, ostensibly to use as a body double for the victim in the case we're discussing here today. Even though the waxwork's build is a poor match for the victim, and its face is obscured by a mask. So the question is, why would the man do such a thing? Which brings us to 3 days ago, when the birdcage crashed into the Crystal Tower. If the birdcage had in fact contained not the body of Mr. Asman, but that same waxwork, the coroner from Scotland Yard who investigated, Dr. Scythe, would have noticed immediately. And yet, she submitted this autopsy report for the victim, which the court has seen earlier. Why?
Because the waxwork was that of the professor. Is that what you're saying?
Dr. Scythe put her name to a document confirming the death of a condemned criminal who was still alive. A criminal whose apparent resurrection was witnessed by Mr. Drebber. But that misconduct was a deadly secret the coroner would do anything to protect. Which is precisely why Mr. Drebber used that particular waxwork as the body double.
Ugh.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh,
My
shit.
lord, this court must summon Dr. Scythe to the stand. The defense is determined to find out exactly how the coroner and Mr. Drebber are connected.
Ugh.
But according to the missive I received this morning through the prosecutor's office, Dr. Scythe is unable to participate in these proceedings. Is that not the case?
Come on,
So she
Fonzie.
just gets a pass because she says she's busy?
You can do it. Throw a fit. Do it.
She told us so herself, didn't she?
Show your British privilege.
Lord Von Zieks won't be summoning me as a witness. Lord Strongheart has forbidden it.
Lord Strongheart?
The Pandora's box you were warned about is the Professor case. But please, don't make the mistake of thinking you'll get any information out of it from me.
Oh, buddy, what did you miss?
Welcome back!
Welcome back.
Oh.
Buddy. Okay.
Oh, buddy. Should we do a recap real quick?
Does anyone remember what actually happened?
Mildly.
Okay, so, we discovered that we weren't that far away from a to be continued before we stopped. That was a fun moment. We've been talking to Tuspels for a while.
Yes.
Specifically talking to her about the professor, because she's like, oh yeah, I saw his dead body, and then we went off on quite the tangent.
Whoops.
And then what else has happened? We've currently figured out that there's no way that the professor died at the time that was marked on his death certificate, because Tuspels is claiming that he was already coming out of rigor mortis.
It hadn't gotten into rigor mortis yet.
Oh, hadn't gotten into rigor mortis. Sorry, backwards. Because his jaw was like,
Flopping around.
flopping around, so she couldn't get her impression.
Yep.
Oh, she's still there. We're almost done talking to her, I think. We might talk to her one more time, and then it's what's her bucket's turn.
We think maybe if we can fight Strongheart. But
in my walkthrough, she's not next, but
okay.
We should be able to talk to her. See what else.
We determined that, so we're still trying to find the connection between Dr. Scythe and Enoch Drebber. And with that, because we figured out that she had signed off on the wrong date of death, we are currently postulating that when she was investigating the body that fell into the Crystal Tower, which, as a reminder, was the wax dummy of the professor from Tespel's museum, that she pretended it was a real body because it was the professor, and so she was covering up her own crime. So, we are not sure they aren't siblings. We have no idea.
Yeah.
We've not gotten there yet. We have just confirmed that Enoch Drebber is someone we know, which we found out Tespel's actually talked to him 10 years ago when, after he had seen the professor come back to life, because his name was actually mentioned in an article and then he got doxxed.
Yeah.
By a newspaper. So she talked to him and took his cast or whatever it is, so that she could make the wax statue as shown in the exhibit. So,
yes. The Gina Menace count and the Hallowed Chalice count have not changed. Racism, we are up to 28.
Yeah, Tespel.
That popped off real fast.
Yeah.
And I hated it.
Yeah,
I had to say so much.
It was sad to watch. Yeah.
Girl,
you could do better.
Not some microaggressions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the worst we've seen in this game, but
yeah.
But I trusted you.
We all were rooting for you.
Oh yeah, and then we went off on a America's Next Top Model tangent.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not as crazy as the tangent we went on about dead dicks. So.
Yes.
So here's the question that we came up with. Tespel's entire thing is that 100% of the model is completely accurate, which means that somewhere under the clothes of that model is the dick print. But the question is, how long is the dick? Is it like fully extended? Is it shorter? Because when rigor mortis sets in, you would think it would extend because the muscles are, tightening up.
Right.
But then at the time of death, we're thinking because the muscles relax, it gets smaller.
Well, I had pointed out that there's like the myth that your hair and nails grow when you die. And it's in fact actually just your skin shrinking because of dehydration.
Really?
So it's your skin pulling back, which is why those things seem to grow. So that was my argument for maybe why it gets smaller.
Jesus, magic. Amazing.
That's a good answer.
Yeah. 100% accurate.
Yeah, if you want the entire 15-minute conversation, there's always going to be the video on demand. But we went way into it.
Yeah, it was a bit.
It was a bit.
All right. We ready to get back to it?
Sure.
Something happened on the night of that killer's execution 10 years ago. And surely nobody would want to get to the bottom of that more than Lord Von Zieks. Oh yeah, he's been surprisingly okay with us pulling some of our shit today.
Yeah. The prosecution calls for the instructions in that missive to be scrapped.
Yeah.
But Lord Von Zieks, the missive was issued from the Lord Chief Justice's office.
Objection.
Okay.
All of a sudden, yeah, I'm fine.
The assigned prosecutor has the final say on policy in any particular trial.
Yeah.
So, bitch, get me what I need. In other words, me.
Yes. Thank you for not being an absolute asshole for the first time in your life. Or, more being an asshole to the right people. Not me.
Let Enoch Drebber and Dr. Scythe both take the stand together.
Damn. He's serious.
Angry now.
Oh, and then the other problem is that my Skype keeps freezing, so I'm gonna have to go back over to stream to order. Very well, I will uphold your request. Bailiff, send a subpoena with immediate effect addressed to Dr. Scythe of the Forensic Investigation Team. Please Skype? No? Okay. The woman is compelled to attend on Her Majesty's orders.
Hey, yo.
All right, then. Enoch Drebber and Dr. Scythe. If they weren't colluding with one another, this crime could have never been committed. I'm just a stone's throw away. I can feel it. The truth behind all of this is about to come out. Oh, yeah, also, Sholmes is eating caramel somewhere behind her head.
Yes. Damn. Thank you for your attendance at such short notice, Dr. Scythe.
I'm disappointed in you, Lord Von Zeeks.
I'm proud of you.
You've completely betrayed the agreed policy of both Scotland Yard and the prosecutor's office.
Betrayal is not in my nature, as long as the truth isn't compromised. If it is, if there's even a hint of wrongdoing, then no matter whom it concerns or disgruntles, I will pursue the matter to the bitter end, as would any prosecutor worth his salt.
Yeah, you tell her. Mr. Drebber, you took the victim's life by means of a machine that you constructed in your workshop. And Dr. Scythe, as the investigating coroner, you were the first on the scene to examine the victim's body. It is the belief of the defense that you collaborated with each other and were both complicit in this crime.
And where's your evidence?
At present, we have no definitive evidence, but we do have a very significant clue.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking, of course, about the waxwork. This model of the killer known as the Professor, who was sentenced to death 10 years ago.
You don't need to tell me. I witnessed the man's execution with my own eyes, and officially pronounced him dead.
That remains to be seen.
Is that so?
According to newspaper reports from the time, on the night following his execution, the killer came back to life.
Don't waste my time.
And the sole witness to that mysterious event was you, Mr. Drebber, wasn't it? If what you saw in the graveyard that night 10 years ago wasn't some chilling fiction, but reality, it would make you privy to a very great secret of Dr. Scythe's. A secret so profound, it could compel the coroner to agree to collaborate in your evil scheme, in fact. Why did we think he was going to cooperate?
Right.
Mr. Drebber, tell the court. Tell everyone the truth of what you saw that night in Lowgate Cemetery. Ceremony. Oh yeah, I also accidentally called Sholmes Dr. Sholmes instead of Mr. Sholmes.
And he definitely took it to his ego.
Surely he's not going to claim that's what he really saw, especially not after all these years. He was a research student at the University of London, was he? And a bit too clever for his own good, if you ask me. God, I hate this man.
What an interesting twist.
Huh?
When at the time,
Scared.
not one person would take me seriously. Yet now here we are, 10 years later, and suddenly my story matters, and in a court of law, too.
Chat says I wouldn't be surprised if Shump secretly has a bunch of doctorates and only half of them are fake.
Real. We have no proof of that yet. Very well then. If everyone so wishes. Let's be frank. I'll tell you the truth of what happened that night for what it's worth. This man is traumatized.
So, Mr. Drebber.
I mean, technically, he was so traumatized all his hair turned white, so...
Literally.
Your testimony, please, about the events of that night 10 years ago. I can't fucking read. You will tell the court exactly what you stumbled across in Lowgate Cemetery.
Yes, of course. As you wish.
All right. Let's see this cemetery. In the cemetery 10 years earlier.
The reason I was in the Lowgate Cemetery all the 10 years ago was for a spot of moonlighting, shall we say. Yes, the illustration in that newspaper article was based on what I witnessed that night. But thinking back now, I realized that I never actually saw the professor. Soon afterwards, I was visited by a young woman who had sculpted a model of me from wax. Then I gave up on my dream becoming a scientist, and it was all because of that newspaper article.
All right, well, that was not a cohesive story whatsoever, but...
Nope.
Wait a minute. You're claiming you didn't actually see the professor now?
Of course, you'd have to have a screw loose if you believed a corpse could come back from the dead.
But, so, you're saying this article is...
Not worth the paper is printed on? I think that would describe it perfectly, yes.
If the details in the article aren't true... Trevor, the wax lady gave me some really dank kush and I got so dumb.
Damn.
It was such a good high, I gave up all my dreams of life.
Yeah.
It nullifies your argument for why Mr. Drebber and Dr. Scythe would have been working together.
So, he's discrediting himself to cripple my argument?
Tell me, witness. You claim to have been in the cemetery on some auxiliary business. Can you elaborate? He was grave dick robbing.
That's right. Grave robbing, to be precise. As you know, Lowgate Cemetery is at the rear of Barclay Prison. So among students at the university, it had a reputation of being haunted by the ghosts of condemned convicts.
Grave robbing, you say?
Yes, exhuming fresh corpses to sell is reasonably lucrative. Of course, I never laid a finger on any valuables buried with the dead. So, you are one of the so-called resurrectionists, a particularly unpleasant scourge on society. Actually, my fellows and I went by another name, the Repurposers.
You should have went with the previous one. The repurposer sounds weird.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to say.
That That is quite beyond the pale. You would invite divine retribution, sir.
Yes, well, I think I suffered retribution enough. The Daily Circus eventually unearthed my name and put it in print. It caused me a great many headaches. In the end, I had to leave the university. That was the only paper with a bad grade to identify me unambiguously, I might add.
I see.
Out of interest, who drew the illustration for this article? Oh, yes. That was the reporter who exposed me. He sketched that right in front of me as I described his scene. Obviously, as time ticked on, I bitterly regretted what I'd done. Claiming to have seen something I never truly saw. Foolish. Very foolish.
What were you trying to get? If you didn't see it, then why would you tell people you did and then want to stay anonymous?
15 seconds of fame, I guess.
Not if you stay anonymous.
Brownie points. Or just brownies.
Brownies.
Chat asks, how confident are we about the bet, or my bet, that Tusfells is a killer of some kind? I don't know if she's our killer, but I wouldn't say that she definitely hasn't killed somebody.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And it makes her hotter, so...
Yeah. She may not have done it in this instance.
Yes.
Real.
But.
Well, counsel for the defense, you may proceed to the cross-examination now.
At once, my lord. All right, time to do this cross-examination and punch him out of the water.
Real. The reason I was in Lowgate Cemetery all the 10 years ago was the spot of moonlighting, shall we say.
By moonlighting, you mean grave robbing, do you?
Surely, you need only look at the graveyard scene and my appearance to gauge an answer to that.
What do you mean? Did you take those clothes off a corpse or something? Like...
Yeah, look at that face.
The lantern and the spade.
Yeah. But who on earth would want to buy a dead body?
Any major hospital.
Her.
A hospital?
Also me. In order to better understand the human body, the study of anatomy is crucial to medical science. But there isn't a hospital in the world that has enough specimens to work with. Though obviously they can't openly express an interest in obtaining more by dubious means.
As aspiring scientists, we young research students had no money to work with, as I'm sure you can imagine. So we made superstitious arrangements for the hospital via some of our medical student acquaintances. We would never take anything of value from the graves. This is all for the furtherance of science, you see. And that what we all told ourselves every time we stole into the graveyard at night, spade in hand. You realize body snatching is a serious crime. If you were caught, you could expect the gravest of consequences. We students were caught between the hammer and an anvil. We needed funds for research.
Professor Harebrain said exactly the same. Are we expecting that he also dug up bodies? Because he does not seem like the type that could dig up a body and remain cool about it.
Yeah. Also, he can't lift that much.
Yeah.
Jess says that they have stream as audio only and briefly thought that it was Gots talking about collecting corpses. I'm quite speechless at the apparent levity in which you revealed this abhorrent behavior.
Well, if you wanted to know why I was there at Lowgate Cemetery, that's the reason. But I never expected it to end the way it did. That I regret to this day. Yes, the illustration in that newspaper article was based on what I witnessed that night.
The strange happening at Lowgate cemetery. I keep doing that, which you now deny.
Not entirely. I ran to fetch the police at the time. You know, I was shaking like a leaf. But they didn't believe a word of it. In fact, I was very nearly arrested myself.
Okay, so if you didn't see it, why did you go to the police? So you went to the papers instead?
I started big with the London news, but unsurprisingly, they didn't want to know either. In the end, though, it was reporters from the gossip rags, the gutter press, that came to get my story. And it spread like the plague through the capital as the gossip-hungry Londoners lapped up the tale.
Because fuck the police, I agree.
The story was in every single paper at the time, with the exception of some broadsheets. And yet, only 2 or 3 of them actually interviewed me personally. Most of the accounts turned out to be very interpretive ghost stories.
What about the article in the Daily Circus?
Well, that particular journalist found me at my dormitory. I don't know how, but he discovered my name. So I recounted to him exactly what had happened that night.
And from your description, he drew this illustration?
Well, precisely. That's how I learned that the condemned man was the infamous professor. Because the reporter told me so. I had no idea myself, you see.
So what did you tell the papers?
Right. Newspaper reporters, won't to snoop around in matters that don't concern them. I had a hiccup. So the scene portrayed in the illustration is accurate, then? Well...
It's accurate in that it didn't happen?
Thinking back now, I realized that I never actually saw the professor at all.
What are you talking about?
I think I explained already, didn't I? Lowgate Cemetery is at the rear of the Barclay Prison, so it was renowned amongst us students at the university for being haunted by the ghosts of condemned convicts. For some absurd reason, I was scared of the graveyard at night. As a result, only too willingly to believe that nonsense about the dead coming back to life.
But you said you actually saw it.
I said what I'd seen in my mind's eye. After all, resurrection is impossible, isn't it? You'd have to be unhinged to think otherwise. Unless, of course, you have some evidence that proves I encountered the professor that night.
I mean, we have a blood stain on the camera.
Real.
I don't know. Is there any material evidence that could show he really did see the professor?
I'm so sorry.
Are you
I'm
doing
having
okay?
a great time. No, this is having such a great time. I'm like, oh, I'm just listening to a podcast. I'm a part of the podcast. If we have anything at all, Mr. Naruhodo.
I know. I need to present it against that irritatingly backtracking statement of his.
The point is, that night was a pivotal moment in my life. Soon afterwards, I was visited by a young woman who had sculpted a model of me from wax.
That young woman being Madame Tuspels, of course.
Precisely. I must say I didn't expect to run into her again, like this 10 years later.
As I've explained, I went by the name published in the article, and
Comme ça.
Comme ça, I found the man.
Yes, the article in the Daily Circus, I think you said.
I was a poor student with barely a penny to my name at the time. And the young lady put £5 in front of me. So you readily consented to having a waxwork of yourself made and gave permission for it to be put on display. I did. I should sell what little I had to sell, I concluded.
Ah, Hui, I remember now. I purchased something else from you that day.
Ne sais pas.
Mm-hmm.
Did you? I can't say I remember.
What was it, madame?
His camera. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, yes. I made a point of taking it with me whenever I made an excursion to the cemetery.
You took a camera with you, sir? To what end?
I mean, it has great selfies, you know, with the grave and everything.
Just like over there, like throwing
Like
up peace signs.
I wanted to do that one meme from like what was the Flash? That guy, you know the meme. I wanted to do that, but I was too little, too late.
Dabbing next to one. TikTok dances.
To record the details of the bodies I disinterred. But I had no intention of ever visiting a graveyard again after that night, so I sold it. From the Arrow or something, yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. I was like, okay, sure. The meme. I know what meme we're talking about now.
It just he's like peace signing on his grave. His own grave. The actor.
I see. I'm hip with the kids. I know what the memes are.
Let's go.
I'm having to look up the acronyms though now. Like the kids have moved on from the normal ones.
Yeah.
Like
GL is good luck.
That one I figured out. Ijbol, IJBOL. I had to look up the other day.
What the fuck?
I just burst out laughing, I think is what it stands for.
Yeah, someone said that. I'm like, why the fuck?
Uses an abbreviation with me, I have to fucking look it up. If it's not like
Lol.
original text speak abbreviation, I have no idea what the fuck it means. So I always look it up. I had the phrase. So I had the phrase "skibbity toilet" texted at me recently, and I was like, I can't be friends with you. Like,
oh hell no!
I don't understand what this means. I don't want to understand. It's weird. We can't be friends.
Get that shit out of here.
You know what? She was just saying shit, and I was like, girl, I don't know what the fuck you're saying to me. I'm not that much older than you, but I am too old for this.
Yeah. I regret to inform you, our friendship has expired. Please never contact me again.
Please never message me ever again. I'm so sorry. Let's see, but I still have it, Monsieur. It's part of the special exhibit in my House of Horrors. I am very meticulous about such details. It is the Tuspel's way.
So, does his waxwork have his dick in it?
That was an extra £5.
Just smooth down there like a Ken doll?
Yeah, probably.
Unless she's into being very accurate.
I mean, you know, the Tuspel's way is 100% accuracy, so...
Yes.
I'm sure she would.
Let's see. Chat says, Riz and Sigma are slang I can understand because I know the etymology of them. Skibbity, as far as I can tell, is just scatting, and I struggle to comprehend it.
Me too.
Yeah, I've gotten context clues. Yeah, again, Tuspel's uses magic.
Really?
Yeah, there's context clues for me to understand like what Riz means, but I have never I don't have context for what skibbity means.
I don't think I want to know.
I also don't want to know.
Especially what a skibbity toilet is.
Yeah, I don't know. All I know is that there is a plastic toilet, like toy toilet, that you can buy at Target that is branded as skibbity toilet, and I
hate that.
Well,
it's in the toy aisle. It exists.
Why?
This is the odd timeline, if nothing else.
Yes.
I want to go back.
Anyway, it would seem then at this very camera, Dr. Drebber, Mr. Drebber, good lord, I did the same thing. I put him to locate
Dr. Drebber, let's go.
On the night in question.
Look, everyone's getting doctorates tonight, so
you get a doctorate.
You get a doctorate. Look under your seats. It's a doctorate.
Look under your seats. It's bees.
Yeah. Yes, interesting.
Then I gave up on my dream of becoming a scientist, and it was all because of that newspaper article.
This article, you mean? Published in the Daily Circus.
Yes, somebody informed the dean that it was my name that appeared in the article, and carelessly let it slip that night after night. I was digging up graves, hardly a model student, you might say. The university's reputation was execrably defiled, and I was expelled as a result.
I had no idea.
Mon Dieu. My God.
And having been run out of the university, you found employment in a somewhat specialist trade.
You combined your knowledge of science with the knowledge of stage magic to create various experimental machines intended to demonstrate never-before-seen technology. And you used those deceptive machines to trick the government and private investors into giving you money. Professor Albert Harebrain was just your latest victim, wasn't he?
Whatever are you talking about? I have no recollection of doing anything of the sort.
What's Drebber up to? Why would he suddenly change his tune and recant his claim?
Alright, so, for chat. Skibbity Toilet is a popular web series. From what I understand, the show is a surprisingly serious war story. It just happens to be about a cast of characters whose race is the Skibbity Toilets.
What the fuck?
And they're actual, like, toilets?
What?
I guess.
You know what?
I don't think I want to know.
I'm gonna chalk this up to the same thing as, like, when you guys talk about kids shows that you watched. If you watch it, I'm sure it makes sense to you. If you don't, it sounds like the wildest fucking thing you've ever heard.
Literally, Yo Gabba Gabba and Teletubbies.
Like, childhood is just a weird time, man.
This is giving, like, the book series Warriors, the Warrior Cats vibes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I never read it, but I knew a kid that was super obsessed with them.
Except for, I can't imagine, like, I heard that Warrior Cats, like, you'd have people on the playground pretending to be cats, which, you know, like, developmentally makes sense at that time.
Well, she was in middle school.
Okay,
yes,
maybe not quite developmentally at that time, but, you know. But what, like, are the kids these days pretending to be toilets on the playground? Do they still get recess these days?
I assume so.
Not as much anymore. Well, in middle school, no. In elementary, yes.
I don't think I ever got recess in middle school, so.
I did.
Really?
I went to the cool school, yeah.
Apparently.
We had PE for that.
No. We literally had recess. It was great. I missed it. Good times. We
I wonder.
Tokyo Mew Mew.
I wonder
That's
if
me,
perhaps
Ichigo.
it's because his circumstances have changed now.
What circumstances?
Well, if he admits to having seen the professor emerging alive from his grave 10 years ago, it will expose a secret in Dr. Scythe's past, and she would desperately want to hide.
Yes, of course. If Drebber and Dr. Scythe are working together for now, then if Drebber were to betray her, there would be no reason for her to continue to cooperate. In that case, there's only one way around it. I'll have to prove he really did see it. Prove he really did see the professor's corpse coming back from the dead as he originally claimed.
Yes, Mr. Naruhodo, exactly.
Okay, well... all I've got is I've got this camera.
Would you like me to tell you what it is?
Yes.
So, statement 3, which is,
Okay.
but thinking back now, I realize I never actually saw the professor.
Yeah?
Did we do this? Present the article?
Not yet.
Okay, I said that with so much confidence that I was like, wait, have we actually presented anything at him?
No. Okay, so present the article on the statement.
Yes.
Objection.
Sorry, Mr. Drebber, but I don't believe that.
Don't believe what?
Your latest claim. You did see the professor on that night 10 years ago.
Oh dear, we seem to be at odds. But I was there, and you were not. I know what I didn't see.
The illustration with this article was drawn based upon what you told the journalist that you witnessed. A figure emerging from a tomb wearing an iron mask.
Yes, when the killer was tried 10 years ago. It was decided in the close court ruling that the man would wear a mask to hide his identity.
Yeah, I don't remember that from 1800 years ago.
It wasn't to be removed even during his execution and subsequent burial.
Not even the prison wardens were allowed to see the man's face. This is nuts. Like, why would they not?
Yeah,
But
why?
obviously, the provision of this mask was not public knowledge.
So, Mr. Drebber, as you've just heard,
Ugh.
a lowly student of the University of London certainly wouldn't have known about the condemned man's mask. So, unless you'd actually seen the professor that night, it's inconceivable, that the artist would have included the mask in that illustration.
Ugh.
She is tall. Or is that just
She
all her
is.
hair?
Maybe. Or both.
Oh, thanks, Skype. Order. Well, Mr. Drebber.
Yeah, Mr. Drebber?
It's a vile scene, isn't it? If you look closely.
Uh-huh.
And as I've already been at pains to point out, I was utterly petrified. Which is why I had it in my head that I'd seen such a blood-curdling sight. But afterwards I came to my senses, and I realized that I'd been mistaken.
You're still saying you didn't see it?
If you're stubbornly sticking to that story, witness, then amend your testimony to explain exactly how you think your eyes deceived you.
I don't know how to feel about this new Von Ziegs.
Of course. Only too happy to oblige.
I can't believe he's still not going to concede the point.
What in fact witnessed was a fellow grave robber at work.
A fellow grave robber? What are you talking about?
Well, I wasn't the only one busy in the cemetery that night. You know, other body snatchers were at work. Of course, when I saw one emerging from the hole he dug, my heart nearly stopped. So that's the terrifying sight I actually saw, you see. You're claiming it was just another student on equally unsalubrious business as yourself? Many of the medical students would wear metal masks to protect them from the bacteria during dissections.
I don't think the metal's gonna protect you, but
Clearly, the fellow was just using a mask to protect his anonymity, wouldn't you say?
But there's more to the story, isn't there? The article goes on to say, in the next second, a gunshot rang out suddenly from behind. The bullet pierced the resurrected man's chest, whose breath then stilled once more.
We might assume that the sexton discovered the miscreants at work, perhaps, and fired upon one of them?
If a gravedigger had shot someone in the cemetery, I think it might have been rather big news, my lord.
Real.
Ah, yes, well.
Duh.
I can only assume it was an embellishment bolted on later by the reporter.
Someone's seen the body.
Excuse me.
Madame Tuspels. Don't take it out on Mr. Sholmes. Again, I cannot wait for her to crack and just take off his nose.
Oh yeah, or break the entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, pardon.
Ooh la la.
Ooh la la.
I was lost in my thoughts.
Would it be fair to say that Mr. Trepper's last remark was significant to you in some way?
Thought it was a little strange. That's all. Not Lady kills him in open court, getting even hotter.
Exactly. Look, between having her here and hot assistant behind the prosecution, like, this is a hot courtroom all.
How Monsieur Drever could claim this now?
If you don't mind me saying, Madame, what are you talking about?
Well, when I met you 10 years ago at your university dormitory, Jesus, you recounted to me about your adventures in the cemetery, no? Including the gunshot.
Stop.
No, keep going.
You might want to watch your tongue, you know.
Okay, dude, this is a court of law. There is a wild place to try to threaten someone.
So this is a Wendy's. Have a care, Drebber. There's no way to speak to a lady.
You know, this is possibly the first time we've ever agreed on something. Please, Madame Tuspels, carry on.
You fart. You jump up on me and fart. You nasty dog. Why do that to me? That's horrible.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
You're very cute, but it's not your birthday anymore, so I'll be mad at you. Oh my god. Of course. Someone farted, and it wasn't me. According to what Monsieur Drebber told me at the time, he did hear a gunshot from behind him, and the bullet hit the condemned man.
I said nothing of the sort.
Non, you were very explicit about the details. About the mask that the figure was wearing. And the blood that splattered all over you when he was shot.
Enough! Shut up, woman! You're making all this up.
Is she?
That will do. That'll do, pig.
That'll do.
Mr. Drebber.
Yes.
You refute the account just given by Madame Tuspels?
I have no recollection of ever saying those things.
Come on! Do you really expect us to believe you now?
Control yourself, counsel. I will not permit baseless accusations in my courtroom.
Why? You've let the prosecution get away with it for the last, 8 cases.
Oh!
Right.
Under the circumstances, I think it's best that you supplement your testimony with a statement to clarify your position on this, witness.
Very well. Watching your ass, Drebber. There was no gunshot from behind me at all, nor splattering blood.
Okay, I already have your camera, but I just want to make sure that, we got this. Yet, Madame Tuspels has testified that you told her about both of those details.
Not true, I said nothing of the sort. 10 years have passed. Without material evidence to the contrary, you have no grounds on which to question the witness's word.
Tell me, Madame Tuspels.
Oui?
What exactly did Mr. Drebber say about the blood that apparently spattered on him?
Alors?
Alors? Yeah, pretty much. If there's a consonant and then at the end of the word, drop it.
Okay. This is what he told me. All of a sudden, he heard a very loud gunshot from behind his back. The bullet hit the figure who was emerging from the tomb in the middle of the chest, in his heart. One dreadful sight after another. And since Monsieur Drebber was at that time facing toward the condemned man, the blood sprayed from the wound and spattered on his body. That's what he told me.
So, not an experience you would ever forget, is it?
I would assume
Precisely.
that.
And I didn't forget it because I've already said it never happened in the first place.
He's clearly lying. If only I had some evidence to prove it.
We can't let him win, Mr. Naruhodo.
We won't.
So we mustn't overlook a single detail, no matter how small.
I got your camera, bitch.
Yup. Caught in 4K.
Mm-hmm.
Literally.
Objection.
Mr. Drebber, do you remember this camera?
But that is the camera from that fateful night.
Yes, we borrowed it from the House of Horrors. It's the camera you took with you to the cemetery that night, Mr. Drebber.
And is that supposed to be significant?
Well, now that we've used it as evidence, sorry, madam, you're never getting it back. But this kind of camera is rarely seen in our homeland, so my colleague and I were keen to examine it closely. We noticed that the lens extends forward on the end of some bellows. Like this.
Hold it!
What's that? There, just on the bellows. It looks like a dark red stain.
That's right. It's a rather conspicuous mark here on the bellows, in fact.
Good lord, are you suggesting?
Yes, my lord. It would appear to be a spatter of blood. Blood?
Blood? Something that could be confirmed with a simple chemical test. Isn't that right, Dr. Scythe?
It would be difficult to determine if it was human blood, not the blood of some animal. But yes, To test whether or not his blood is all simple enough.
I propose that Madame Tuspel's testimony was correct, and that on the night in question 10 years ago, you were spattered with blood from the gunshot wound.
Well,
And that, furthermore, you really did witness the condemned professor emerging from his tomb. Glad he's just having his moment. Dr. Scythe is not moving. She's like, just have it in your own space.
Mm-hmm.
There's simply no way you could have forgotten such a traumatic experience. In other words, the only explanation is that you're trying to hide the fact that you saw the professor that night.
Objection!
But why? Why would he want to do that?
Well, not for his own gain, it would seem.
For whose then? Who could benefit?
Mr. Drebber is obviously lying in order to protect somebody.
My goodness. He's shielding someone?
Yes, my lord. And clearly, it's someone who doesn't want the truth about the professor coming back to life to be exposed.
Well, counsel, who is it then? Who is the witness trying to protect by lying about what he saw that night?
A winner.
Take that!
The obvious answer is Dr. Scythe.
Scythe?
Whatever do you mean?
Imagine if the convict who'd been sentenced to death was not, in fact, killed. Imagine if that was to come to light.
What are you insinuating?
And imagine if the convict in question was the country's most hated mass murderer. If it was the professor.
That would be an unprecedented scandal.
Objection!
That is beyond a joke. Need I point out that the dead cannot come back to life? What you're suggesting would mean that the execution never actually happened.
Yes, that's exactly what it would mean.
Objection!
Once a man is sent to the gallows, he hangs. No one could escape, not in Great Britain.
But the fact is, there was a witness to the fact that the man did escape his hanging.
If that were really true, counsel, the implications of misconduct would not stop at the supervising coroner. It would taint the honor of the entire judiciary from the ground up.
Pandora's box! And it's exactly because of those monumental repercussions that Dr. Scythe would consent to any demand made of her by someone who threatened to expose the secret. Even if that meant being complicit in a crime.
You mean?
I mean that Dr. Scythe wasn't collaborating in Mr. Drebber's wicked scheme. She was coerced into collaborating in order to protect her decade-old secret. She switched the dead body of Mr. Asman with the waxwork model and fabricated the autopsy report.
Ugh. Ugh.
Why is your foot on the desk? Lord Von Zeeks.
It's time to look at my boot, Mr. Naruhodo. Pray, forgive my freshly filled hollow chalice and a whole raft of other discourtesies now.
Like having your shoes on the desk?
Yes.
Goodness me.
It's just the sort of tall tale Londoners would enjoy, I grant you. An executed killer rising from the dead, a Scotland Yard cover-up, a conspiracy at the highest levels. So, let me ask you one thing.
What's that?
If the condemned man really did emerge from his tomb that night, only to be shot in the chest, who pulled the trigger and disposed of him forever?
Well, I have no idea at the moment.
Scythe. It has to be Scythe.
We have too little information to work out or that out at present, I think.
I couldn't agree more.
The Old Bailey is no place for wild fantasies. And have you considered this, my learned Nipponese friend?
We're back to this. Considered what?
Do you realize just what a dangerous endeavor it would be to coerce a woman into such criminal activity?
Okay.
It's a tantamount to declaring war on the entire British police force and judiciary. Quite! Or to imagine any sum of money being offered for research could warrant it.
Was here. To rely on some stage deception when so much is at stake would be madness.
Well, I suppose.
And this was no petty crime either. The victim was murdered. A man who'd already invested money in the venue and would be instrumental in future profits too. Yes, I had no reason to kill Mr. Osman at all. Or are you forgetting that his death results in me receiving not a single penny? And the court is already aware of the contract between myself and the victim, no?
There is the contract. That's very true.
The motive for this case runs deep, though. I can feel it.
Feel it in your jellies.
Feel it in my jellies.
Using threats of force to using threats to force the head of the forensic investigation team to cooperate is extreme. Especially for a government grant he had no guarantee of receiving in the first place.
If the research grant was the aim, taking Mr. Asman's life would have made no sense anyway. Which means Mr. Drebber's motive wasn't money at all. He was just trying to kill Mr. Asman. But why? What was his motive then?
Your time is up, my learned friend. I'd say you have one last chance before the jury loses their patience with this charade. Let's see if you can back up your heady proposal, shall we?
Oh.
How do you explain why this engineer would throw all caution to the wind and threaten his own country?
At this point, I'm not prepared to listen to more of this outlandish conjecture without proof. So, counsel, present your evidence.
All right. Who exactly was Mr. Asman to Drebber? There's a connection there that no one's seen yet. And I'm going to have to present two pieces of evidence to show what it is. Yes, my lord. The evidence that establishes a motive and explains why the witness wanted the victim dead is right here.
The article with Asman.
Yeah, we have the article.
Mm-hmm.
It's this newspaper article, my lord.
That was written 10 years ago, and every detail has been examined already. What can it possibly tell us? The drivel should have never been written! Any typical gutter press nonsense that means nothing!
Yes, on its own, it isn't particularly significant. However, when considered alongside another piece of evidence, it will completely explain your motive for wanting Mr. Asman dead.
What other evidence?
Counsel, will you present your supplementary evidence without delay? The evidence which, when cross-referenced with the newspaper article, establishes a motive for the deed.
I do not know. I kind of thought that it was self-explanatory.
Yeah.
It's signed.
Yeah, it says use the contract.
Contract?
Mm-hmm.
Take that!
It's this contract, my lord. Mr. Drebber, this is the contract you signed with Mr. Assman.
Yes, that's right. The very document, in fact. That proves I had no reason to kill the man.
No, I'm afraid not.
What?
There's something very significant that this newspaper article and the contract have in common.
Really?
And it's that common link that shows very clearly why you were determined to kill Mr. Odie Assman.
It seems the defense has uncovered something the rest of us has missed.
Yeah, a signature.
So, my learned friend, point out what these two pieces of evidence have in common. Where exactly is the link between the newspaper article and the contract?
Take that!
What these two pieces of evidence have in common is a signature.
A signature?
The signature on the illustration that accompanies the 10-year-old article and the signature on the contract belong to the same person.
What? No!
As the court has heard, this illustration was drawn 10 years ago by the newspaper reporter who found Mr. Drebber and interviewed him about his ordeal. If you look closely, the reporter's signature can be seen in the bottom right corner of the drawing. And if you look at the contract here, which was signed between the witness and the victim last year, you can clearly see Mr. Assman's signature at the bottom.
Let me see now. Good lord, yes, they're identical.
In short,
I went to handwriting analysis school.
the journalist who drew the illustration and wrote the article published about Mr. Drebber 10 years ago was the victim of this case, Mr. Odie Assman.
No!
Objection!
What are you objecting to?
Let's explain to the court why. Why would that constitute a motive for the witness to murder Asman?
Well, if you think back, you'll remember that Mr. Drebber talked about that article in his testimony.
Grave robbing, you say?
Yes, exhuming fresh corpses to sell is reasonably lucrative.
As quite beyond the pale, you would invite divine retribution, sir.
Yes, well, I think I suffered retribution enough. The Daily Circus eventually unearthed my name and put it in print. It caused me a great many headaches, and in the end I had to leave the university. That was the only paper with a bad grace to identify me unambiguously, I might add. Then I gave up on my dream and to become a scientist. It was all because of that newspaper article.
At the time, you were a student of the University of London who dreamt of becoming a scientist. However, this single newspaper article changed your entire life.
So, Mr. Assman used to be a newspaper journalist, did he?
He did, my lord. In fact, it's widely held belief that Asman managed to position himself at the heart of his criminal network, thanks to the many dubious connections he made during his time as a reporter.
So you had to give up on your dream and leave university. You lost everything. Eventually, you found yourself working in the field of science, but only in the shadows. And all because of that article, written by Mr. Assman.
Enough! Stop this endless drivel about my life.
What?
Explain yourself, Mr. Drebber.
Yes, it's true. I had to leave the university as a result of that article. But it was just the straw that broke the camel's back.
What do you mean?
Almost every student of science in the faculty was too poor to actually conduct any research. And they struggled with their hypotheses anyway. We all did, only to have them taken by vultures. Sooner or later, you knew your ideas would be stolen and patented by some wretch or other after all.
Good gracious.
Making a name for yourself as a scientist in a climate like that was a miracle only a select few geniuses could ever hope to achieve. Personally, I wasn't one of those geniuses, so it was hardly a wretch. Being forced out of the university because of Lowgate was the best thing that could have happened to me.
Objection.
Mr. Drebber, do you genuinely believe that?
Of course I do. Who's better placed to know whether or not I possess a talent for science than me?
I'm sorry to say that your words don't ring true at all.
How dare you?
And I have evidence to prove it.
How are you in a position to say anything about me? I don't know you from Adam. Fine. If you think you have evidence, go ahead, show it. What could you possibly have to disprove the idea that I was happy to leave the university because I lacked talent?
We're going to use the science trophy. Do you remember this, Mr. Drebber? We found it at your workshop.
Is that a Royal Society trophy for excellence in science?
What exactly is this trophy, Council?
It's the greatest honor that can be bestowed on a young scientist, my lord.
There is no higher accolade. It recognizes emerging talent and promises a bright future.
Good gracious. My guy, you have said that so many times tonight.
Your prospects for the future were excellent, weren't they, Mr. Drebber? Because even then, you were a genius in your field. But you lost everything. You had no more future. Your talents would go to waste. All as a result of this one newspaper article. I don't know when you realized who Mr. Assman was, but when it dawned on you that he was the same journalist who 10 years ago ruined your life, it's abundantly clear that you had no intention of forgiving the man.
The truth is...
Finally, he's going to fold. He's not going to fold. We're drawing this out too long. Oh.
Oh, fuck.
Fine. Clearly, this has run its course now.
What?
Thank you for seeing the truth.
I admit it. All of it.
All right, we're going to end here for tonight because I'm falling asleep.
Yeah, say this. We're right at a good spot.
Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, we did a lot today, despite the fact that we didn't remember anything.
Nice.
Cool. Okay, next stream is Thursday, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific. As a reminder, that will be our last stream before we go on hiatus. So come hang out with us. Anyone else got any announcements?
No.
Perfect. At the bottom of this page is a link to our YouTube channel. You can go watch our previous streams, catch up. We probably should have done that before this stream, but you know what? We live dangerously. Or, you know, by the...
Living on the edge.
You know, walkthroughs that we find online. Yeah, that's all I got. Thanks for hanging out, and have a good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.